The Trump campaign reeling tonight after a stunning report from our own K-File, which reveals the Trump-backed candidate for governor in North Carolina, Mark Robinson, has made dozens of disturbing and damning comments on a porn website. Some of the comments are frankly so disturbing that we cannot air them. But they include Robinson writing, quote, "I am a black Nazi, and I wish they would bring it, slavery, back." Robinson also calling himself a, quote, perv while discussing his affinity for transgender pornography. Keep in mind that he has called transgender kids sick and demonic. These comments were made between 2008 and 2012. And at this hour, Robinson is defiant, refusing to step aside. And at this point, Robinson has only 5 hours to do so. 5 hours in order for Republicans to find a replacement candidate. The deadline is tonight at midnight. As for the Trump campaign, they've released a statement trying to distance Trump from Robinson, saying, "We're focused on winning North Carolina and we will not, quote, take our eye off the ball." We're trying to avoid the topic. But here's the fact. Robinson's Trump's guy. This is what Trump's been saying about Robinson for years.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids. I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2. One of the great stars of the party, one of the great stars in politics, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. I'm a great supporter of his. You're incredible, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. This is a hot politician. He's a hot politician. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. A real star, great guy, friend of mine, Mark Robinson.
Okay, I just didn't want to leave any ambiguity out there. The Harris campaign tonight is wasting no time highlighting that relationship, posting these images with a thumbs up emoji. Now, Robinson is really crucial in the presidential race because he is running to be governor in North Carolina. And Trump's road to the White House runs through North Carolina. That is why this is a major issue. It is why the campaign cannot be happy with what he is telling our Andrew Kaczynski of K-File.
This is not us. These are not our words, and this is not anything that is characteristic of me, nor has it ever been. The people here of North Carolina know I have been completely transparent about my history. All the warts, we put them all out. We let folks know about it. But the folks here also know my character. They know who I am. They know my voice, so to speak. This is not my voice. This is not things that we would ever say or even think.
How do you explain all of the matching details on this profile? The profile on Nude Africa lists your full name as Mark Robinson. The email listed on the account is an email that you have used elsewhere on the internet, including with your photo. You have used that name, Mini Soldier, on multiple social media accounts, including Twitter, Pinterest, Black Planet, and YouTube. How can you deny, with all of these matching details, that this is you?
Look, I'm not going to get into the minutia of how somebody manufactured these salacious tabloid lies, but I can tell you this: there's been over $1 million spent on me through AI by a billionaire son who's bound and determined to destroy me. The things that people can do with the internet now is incredible. But what I can tell you is this: again, these are not my words.
You mentioned AI. Are you saying that somebody was somehow manufacturing biographical details to exactly match you using your username? Is that what you're telling me here when you say that?
Look, I have no idea how this was done. I have absolutely no idea how it was done. And I have 5 weeks left in this campaign to focus on the substantive issues that North Carolinians face. I do not have time for tabloid trash.
Okay. Well, how do you explain some of this being on the Internet Web Archive? Something that can't be
We
manipulated.
are. I've made my position clear, and we are done with this.
All right, Andrew Kaczynski, who broke this story, is out front. And Andrew, I just want to make sure you're going to go step by step in a moment to explain how certain you are that these comments came from Robinson, since he's bringing up this this AI idea. But I just first want to say, I mean, it's incredible reporting. It is leading news sites everywhere. It's incredibly significant, and North Carolina is so significant. So let's go through what you found. You found many of his comments on this porn website, which is one of the places you found this, have to do with race. What else did you uncover?
Yeah, that's right. We found a series, really, of highly disturbing comments made by Mark Robinson on a pornographic website's message board more than a decade ago. And I want to walk our viewers through just a few of the ones that we're even allowed to show on TV. In one disturbing post, Robinson defended slavery, writing, quote, "Slavery is not that bad. I wish they would bring slavery back. I would certainly own a few. Another thing that we found was that Robinson used slurs on the website. We found that he often used anti-gay slurs, he used an anti-Jewish slur, he used an anti-Muslim slur, and he even disparaged civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., calling him a, quote, commie bastard, and Martin Lucifer then using a racial slur.
All right, so all of this, and again, just to emphasize, right, calling himself a black Nazi, right, was another thing you found. He's also said incendiary things about transgender people. We talked about a couple of them, horrific things that he has said about transgender people. But he also admitted on this website to then watching transgender pornography.
That's right. In one of the comments we found, Robinson says that he enjoys, quote, watching transgender porn, saying, quote, that's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in, and then adding, quote, I'm a perv too.
I mean, all right. It's just, okay. It's just incredible. So this is all of these things that you found. And as I said, we're going to go through in just a moment exactly how you know this was him who posted it, because it is very clear and the work was excruciatingly detailed. I want to go to Phil Mattingly out front in Washington, though. Phil, as you hear Andrew lay all this out, you were at a Trump rally in North Carolina. He called Robinson on stage when you were there. You noted he called him a good man. And I know today, as K-Files reporting has been breaking and people are just starting to realize the import of this, you have been fielding calls from Republicans. What are they telling you?
Yeah, and it's been remarkable, those calls, and I'll explain why in a second. But I want to start with that rally down in Asheboro. Mark Robinson didn't actually have a speaking role at that rally, which I thought was surprising at the time. But as you noted, the former president did call him up the stage. He did shake his hand. He called him a good man, said he had to win. And one North Carolina Republican operative I was talking with earlier today said, that's a really important moment for Mark Robinson. I said, why is that? He said, that's the last time he will ever be in public with Donald Trump if this campaign knows what they're doing. You've made very clear, as you read Caroline Leavitt, the Trump campaign spokeswoman's statement, they are distancing themselves. They are talking about his race, Trump's race in North Carolina, the fact he's won the state twice and needs to win it again. They are not talking about Mark Robinson. Now, when it comes to this story, Aaron, I've been doing this 15, 16 years, have covered a lot of pretty explosive stories. I've never seen what happened in the hours before Andrew and K-File's story came out as I did today, which was this morning I started getting phone calls from Republicans, both here in D.C., but also some in North Carolina, asking what this story was about. I had no idea. I wasn't involved in reporting it. But the fact is, the campaign or people tied to the campaign were clearly trying to front run, to get out in front of this story, try and spin it in their direction, as you heard the lieutenant governor try and do with Andrew directly. That made it significantly worse. The anticipation for this story, because of this, Aaron, a number of Republicans I spoke to said, how could it possibly be worse than what he said in the past? This is no stranger to very, very explosive remarks, offensive remarks in the past. It's part of his brand. And one of those people who said that before the story came out, after it came out, called me and said, well, it was a very high bar, but he absolutely cleared that bar. And I think that's the reality now for Republicans. We saw Ralph Norman on Capitol Hill, a South Carolina Republican House member, saying that he needed to resign. Marjorie Taylor Greene saying she needed to learn more about this, but couldn't support someone who has these positions if it's true. How Republicans react in the days ahead is going to be instructive. But one thing that's really important right now, Aaron, you have seen nobody come out and defend him or support his explanation that he attempted to give Andrew.
All right, Phil, thank you. All right, so, obviously, Margaret, we talk about how Trump has to win the state. He has to win this state, and people tend to vote, Republican or Democrat. So when you got a governor Republican and that's your candidate, that's not good for Trump, all right, just to put the obvious out there. The race is tight. Right now, Harris leads. She was way behind with Biden. This state wasn't even on the map.
It's a statistical tie, essentially.
Statistical tie. But all these states are statistical ties. She's up in many of them. She's up in this one. Larry Sabato from the Crystal Ball team this afternoon says they met after K-File's report. K-File's report comes out, they meet K-File, and in the fastest move ever, they moved the race for governor in North Carolina from lean D to likely D. I mean, is this a 5-alarm fire?
Well, Josh Stein can feel pretty good about himself now. He's the attorney general of the state. He'd be the first Jewish governor of North Carolina if he's able to win.
Yep.
Mark Robinson was not on his way to win this race. What we have seen, though, and we should be realistic about this, a lot of Republicans, especially in these southern states, this has happened in Georgia. This has also happened in Arizona. they will leave Trump off the top of the ticket and vote down ballot for Republicans. They will also likely sometimes do the opposite. So I don't think we should necessarily think that Donald Trump is toast here because the terrible Republican candidate for governor is on his way to being toasted.
What do you think, Aisha?
I think that this is hilarious. I think that this is hilarious because there's a long history of hypocritical Republicans getting caught up in some messy sex scandal. During the entire, well, it's ongoing, so I can't say it's over, but this witch hunt against LGBTQ people has been led by a bunch of homophobes who themselves were in the closet, these folks who are getting caught in transgender relationships, people who are soliciting sex from, sex workers, like all kind of crazy stuff has gone down. And so I'm not surprised by the hypocrisy here that we're seeing on display. And so I am looking forward to seeing who in the Republican Party actually starts to call for him to step out of this race in like the next hour.
With Derek Johnson, he's the president and CEO of the NAACP. Thanks so much for joining us. So you're a non-political, non-partisan, I should say, non-partisan organization. What was your response when you heard these comments that CNN uncovered that Mark Robinson wrote on this message board, calling himself a black Nazi, talking about how he wanted slavery to come back? He even wanted a couple slaves himself. What's your response as the head of the NAACP?
First of all, he's delusional. It's unfortunate that he have such a platform. I will hope that the voters of North Carolina would reject his candidacy because he's dangerous. Clay Kane wrote a book called The Grifter. He's a grifter. He's using race to promote himself in a political party that is appealing to the lowest common denominator of human nature. Is one that's divisive, is one that's offensive both to the legacy and history of African Americans and the Jewish community. This is something that no American should tolerate. This gentleman is a danger not only to this democracy, but to humankind.
Yeah, I mean, we should note that Lieutenant Governor Robinson, one of the reasons why so few people believe his denial is because this completely fits with what we know about the wild and unhinged and offensive things he has already said and acknowledged saying on social media for years. And you mentioned his comments about the Jewish community. He had some wildly offensive anti-Semitic post about the movie Black Panther. Just a rant. Have you, in the modern day, so let's say since the year 2000, ever heard anything like this from a lieutenant governor and candidate for governor?
No, but we are in a climate where divisive, hurtful language has been accepted. We need to reject all candidates who seek to divide country and create an atmosphere that could cause harm. There is no reason any citizen, black, white, male, young, old, you name it, should support this type of language, this type of individual. And I don't care that he's an African-American male or whether it's a white male. This should not be accepted. He's delusional. He's doing this to self-promote, not to promote a common, healthy democracy that we should all be a part of.
Well, let me ask you about that since you brought it up. I mean, the fact that he is saying things about wanting slavery to be back and he himself is a black man, does that make it, I mean, explain to viewers your perspective. I mean, there might be viewers out there in North Carolina who think, well, how can he be racist? He's black.
Well, first of all, he's foolish. Second of all, it's a long legacy of African Americans pandering to get attention for personal effects. He's not doing it because he's trying to create a better society. He's doing it out of his own self-interest. Secondly, no citizen should accept the rhetoric that he has been spewing. We should be looking at candidates who are offering policy priorities on how they view this nation, that state, ability to move forward, not individuals who only are spewing negative, the most vile, racist statements. It doesn't matter whether the person is black or female or white or you name it. It is bad taste for anyone to lift up Nazism, for anyone to bring back the history of slavery as if it's okay. We are a society that is the most diverse that we've ever been, and we need to celebrate that, not look backwards.
I just want to give you an opportunity to respond to the fact that President Trump has praised Lieutenant Governor Robinson in the past, calling him, quote, Martin Luther King on steroids, unquote.
Well, foolishness knows foolishness, and that's a foolish statement. There is no reason anyone should embrace eating the notion of eating cats and dogs. No one should embrace Nazism. No one should embrace anything that divides us as a country. The public square should be a place where we are discussing public policy alternatives, how we view the role of government, and what space we play. We don't need to tear each other down or try to recount negative history. We should be looking forward and how we create a better society. And I'm not surprised to hear that from the former president, just like it is unfortunate that this delusional individual who happened to be the standard bearer for the North Carolina Republican Party should be denounced by all members of that electorate body.
Do you think Lieutenant Governor Robinson should drop out of the race?
I think not only should he should drop out, he should apologize for the statements that he's making. He should apologize to all of the communities that he's offending, including his own community.